Hey everybody, as most of you know, I am somewhat of an open-minded person when it comes to firearms. Whether it be a firearm, ammunition, accessories, I try to keep an open-minded, especially to new companies, because I want to encourage innovativeness. I want to encourage people to think outside the box and not always recreate the same thing that we constantly see. With that being said, price sometimes is enough to scare me away. It can make me be a little less open-minded sometimes. Enter the Sccy CPX-1. This pistol is an extremely affordable pistol with an MSRP, depending on whether you get the stainless slide or the black slide, it's got an MSRP of $300 plus. You're going to find this thing almost anywhere for just under $300. That's a pretty good price for a polymer handgun that isn't described in the industry as being junk. We're going to try to give you a quick overview real quick, and I say quick because I just had Chinese and it's just going to have to be a quick overview. So let's see what this pistol is made of. The 100% made in America Sccy from Daytona Beach, Florida. Yeah, get you some of that. 100% made in America. This thing is out of my favorite stomping grounds, Daytona Beach, Florida. Love the place, love the people, a lot of friends over there. This firearm out of that place is a good looking piece. I can tell you, making the his and the her version of it is probably a pretty cool idea. I saw these things not long ago and it seemed like a rainbow of colors that it came in, and it actually does. You can actually get them with the black slides as well. This is a good looking firearm. It feels good in the hand. It's got a thickness to it. It's a little bit wide, but it's very light. The serrations look good. They're curved, but they're deep. In other words, they're deliberate. You can get a good grip on these and definitely charge your slide without having to fumble or risk sliding off of it and busting your knuckles all up. That comes on all of them as far as the deep cuts on that. It's got a decent looking frame as well. The frame has nice texturing. They probably could texture the front a little bit more. As you can see, the front does not have much, if any, texturing to it. But again, we're talking about a $300 pistol here. Nevertheless, it does have decent texturing. I do like the support finger groove up at the front. It gives you a good chance to put that support hand where it needs to be on the frame and give you some out front support whenever you're firing this pistol. The manual safety is ambidextrous, as you can see, so all you lefties out there will be happy that you were not left out. The trigger, well, let's talk about that. It is a double action only. This is a double action pistol. No double action, single action here. So you are going to be talking about a pretty good amount of take up and a pretty good amount of travel as far as making this hammer go back and go forward. You can see one of our videos that we recently did that discussed double action and single action. But yes, again, you're talking about a double action only pistol. Now, with that being said, that's a good thing for us carriers out there. Anyone that's carrying, that likes to keep one in the chamber, that wants to be a little bit safer and not run the risk of holstering a firearm and it possibly going off, is going to like this long, drawn-out double action trigger. The sights, I can't really complain about the sights a whole lot because, again, you're talking about a $300 pistol. I like the front sight. It's very tall and deliberate. The rear sight, I kind of felt like with this being primarily, in most cases, going to be a carry gun, why they wouldn't give a little bit more of a wedge so that you could potentially cock this thing without having the support hand in the event you were injured or something was wrong, or you were trying to fight somebody off with your left hand. I just would like to see more of a shelf on that rear sight. The magazines hold 10 rounds each of 9mm ammunition. In this case, we're using Armscore 124 grain full metal jacket. Magazines pretty easy to load. I found to be somewhat durable magazines. They held up after a full day of shooting. We shot about 400 rounds through each individual gun. So they seem to hold up pretty good, the magazines do. Again, you kind of expect a little bit less quality whenever you're only paying $300 for a firearm, but it seems like the magazines are actually pretty well made. Now, just so you guys know, we did not plan this. We're out at the Cowboy Club. Thanks to those guys for letting us use their range today in Lake Charles, Louisiana. But we did not plan on the Tiffany blue matching the walls of the Cowboy Club, at least one of their stages. So, kind of a coincidence there. Long trigger. Get used to it, though. The pistols seem to be on target. We didn't do any real accuracy tests, but we are here at about 7 to 8 yards and felt like that was a real comfortable range. And again, we're not talking about trying to shoot for competition here. We're simply talking about a self-defense pistol with a double action trigger on it. After shooting several rounds with the Sccy, it was obvious this thing was relatively easy to handle. There was no real recoil to speak of. Again, this pistol, for being a 10-rounder, had a pretty meaty feel to it and seemed to be easy to control. There was enough material and enough handgun to where you didn't feel like you were going to lose it. We had zero malfunctions, zero whatsoever, all day long. Now the biggest knock against a double action pistol is the very fact that you don't get, usually don't get a decent follow-up shot. We're going to try to do some double taps on these and see if we're getting some decent follow-up shots with that longer drawn-out trigger. Off safety, target on the left first. I may actually get the jump on somebody if somebody attacks me and I pull this thing out. Chances are they're going to be a little bit taken aback by seeing a Tiffany blue pistol aimed at them, right? Let's see. Now I mentioned that CPX-1 is a little thick. It feels good in my hand. I like the way it wraps around there. But with it being somewhat light, let's see how it does shooting with one hand. Just not sure how we're going to get with that. You're not going to pull any Jerry Miculek or Max Michel shots out of me by shooting with one hand. I'm just a regular guy. Let's see how this guy does. One hand only. Oops, I missed there. That was all me that missed that. I missed one of the shots, obviously me. Can't blame the gun. The pistol feels really good in the hand. I can tell you, shooting with only one hand, which I'm not used to doing, that wasn't too hard. Like some of the pros do, you kind of give it a side cant instead of shooting it straight up. A little bit of a side cant, and this thing just functions like it's supposed to. So, kind of impressed with the ability of the gun being big enough to fill my palm, to where if I'm going to shoot it with one hand, I don't feel like it's going to fly out of my hand, being that it's such a light gun to begin with. Folks, I'm going to tell you, I like this Sccy CPX-1. And I'm not apologizing for that. I know it sounds like I'm apologizing because I like a $300 pistol, but for the money, this is a great pistol. Don't go in there thinking that you're going to purchase this pistol and go shoot USPSA with it. That's just not going to happen. You're not going to get a 1911 style trigger with this pistol. However, you're going to get one of the best values on the market today with this pistol. I don't think there's anywhere close to being this kind of a value in a 100% American-made pistol. Again, it's funny, I hear a lot of people talk about American-made, but they're going to go out and spend their money, and a lot of it at that, on things that are not American-made. If you want a good value and you want to stick with that American-made motto that you preach all the time, this is a good alternative. Whether you're going with the ladies' version or you're going with the men's version. And I'm not saying only ladies can shoot this one. I'm just saying this is probably geared more towards the ladies in the Tiffany blue. There's a number of different colors. Again, I said earlier, there's a black slide version of it also. Overall, you'll be happy with this pistol. You won't feel like you wasted your money. I have talked to some people online that one guy sold the gun and he really was not a fan of it. And, you know, you're going to get those guys out there. I'm not dogging him. It just wasn't the right pistol for him. This is not going to be the right pistol for everybody. Again, the trigger takes some getting used to, but if you shoot a lot and you shoot some double actions also, you're going to get used to that. You're going to be used to that. It's probably a really safe gun to carry if you carry with one in the chamber. Just something to look into. Now, we're talking about the Chinese food earlier. It's about time to go tend to that Chinese food. You guys be safe out there and shoot straight.